Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Now, this is intended as part 2 of the TDK versus Miltank something decks, so I would recommend you go back to my previous video where I played TDK against Empoleon Miltank, because a lot of the stuff I went over in that video, I'm not going to be going over in this video. It makes a nice two-parter. The last one was only about 16 minutes long. Make yourself a cup of tea, get yourself comfortable, go watch the previous one, and I'll meet you back here in a minute to watch this one. For those of you that have watched it, this time I'm playing the exact same TDK deck. I should have made a couple of changes. I didn't. What can you do? And this time I'm playing against another Miltank deck, but this chap is, or lady, I shouldn't assume despite the avatar, and this time they are playing Miltank with Greninja. Now, Miltank with Greninja is a very similar kind of deck, the only difference really being that he's not playing Dust Noir, because you don't really need to spread the damage around, because Greninja allows you to hit whoever you want with his ability, and he's obviously playing Greninja instead of Empoleon. So I start off, and shockingly, I know you might not have seen this coming, I'm going second this game. Just to, I keep telling people I go second unusually often. Here's a little bit of proof. So he's started with a Safeguard Sigilyph, which is a brilliant starter against my deck, because it doesn't take any damage. Now I can still Raid Knuckle and attach energy to my bench Pokemon, but I can't actually hurt the Sigilyph. So I'm going to be going second, I'm going to get the first attack, but I'm not actually going to get to do anything damage-wise. Now he does bench a Froakie, so I'm hoping I can hit an Escape Rope turn 1, so that I'm going to be able to use my Raid Knuckle on the Froakie. As it is at the moment, I've got Chorus Machine, I've got lasers, couple supporters, and an Ultra Ball that I really want to use, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to justify it. So I draw another supporter. I'm going to have to Ultra Ball, and it's a hard decision. But at this stage, I've got to get rid of the Colress, which is not going to do me any good for a turn or two. Hopefully I can Power Pad it later. And a laser. I don't want to get rid of a laser, but there's nothing I can do. Now, you'll notice in the previous game, I didn't get my Kyurems up and running early enough, and that actually was to my detriment as I played. So this game, I'm trying to get better at, going through all of that, getting my basics out. Now I attach to my bench Kyurem because, quite frankly, I don't have any energy in the discard. Raid Knuckle's not going to be doing any good, so I'm not really gaining anything by putting it on the active Thunderous. Plus, of course, it's not a coloured energy, so I couldn't Raid Knuckle anyway. So I want to be setting up my Kyurem. Now, as I said, it's not a coloured energy, so it's not that much of an advantage, because I need the 2 water energy and the 1 colourless, and I can Chorus Machine a Plasma on whenever I darn well like. I'm not going to play the Chorus Machine there, because I want to save it. So yes, now I've attached to the Kyurem there. Now, I'm not playing the Chorus Machine because I want to save it. Like I've just said, I don't need a second Plasma on the Kyurem. My apologies, our Chorus Machine I thought I'd already attached. So obviously I got the manual attachment on the Kyurem. Didn't want to put it on the Thunderous for the reasons I said a minute ago. Now that Chorus Machine, I don't really want... I want to be using the Chorus Machine, but I want to be using it later on an Absol or on a Kyurem. No more than that. So... I don't want to play it needlessly at the beginning. Maybe I'm going to put 4 energy onto a Thunderous, but certainly it's not my plan yet. Now you'll notice that the Thunderous has got free damage on it, and that's Greninja's ability. For those of you that don't know, there it is. It allows you to discard a water energy, and if you do, you get to put 3 damage counters on a Pokemon. That, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty darn good. Now I've got a dilemma here. Do I use the Ultra Ball or the Chorus Machine? I use the Ultra Ball because I need more Pokemon out, and then I can bike for 4 and hopefully hit a supporter. So I get the Deoxys, and the reason basically is that with my Kyurem, with the 3rd Deoxys, I'm going to be able to get the KO. He's going to basically be on 30 damage from poison at the end of the turn. Now I have to use a Scramble Switch here, I don't want to, but I need to get the KO. Now I'm not putting the Muscle Band on Kyurem, because right now, I don't need to. I'm going to be doing 60 damage with the 3 Deoxys, he's on 20, and that's going to put him on 80, and at the end of the turn, the Poison's going to roll over and put him on 90. So that's going to be quite nice. Now he's got the Greninja out, and he's got a Froakie on the bench, so there is every opportunity for him to start getting multiple Greninjas out, and then it's going to be worrying for me. Now I do need to put an energy down. I'm umming and ahhing, do I put the second Thundurus down? Because Thundurus is a nice attacker. He's going to be playing Miltank, and Miltank is quite easily killed by Thundurus when you build in Laser, Muscle Band, Deoxys. You can hit 100 quite easily. But really, I want my Kyurem and Absol down. So I decide not to bench it, and I do put the third energy onto Kyurem. And the reason is, I want a Blizzard Burn next turn, and although he can kill me next turn, you know, with Miltank and Greninja and all of that, it's going to be very difficult for him to do 120 damage. He can do it, but he's basically going to need Miltank attacking, and he's going to need 2 Greninjas. 2 Greninja abilities, Water Shoryuken or something. So it's doable, but I don't think it's likely. And the reason I'm attaching to Kyurem now rather than next turn is that I'm hoping I'm going to be able to draw a Kyurem or an Absol or one of my Plasma or Ultra Balls so that I can bench that and attach to them next turn. Otherwise, I've either got to not attach or I've got to attach to the Thundurus. And like I've said, I don't want to be putting 4 energy on Thundurus at the moment. It's not really doing me much good. Now you'll see he's playing Superior Energy Retrieval there. That allows him to get 4 water energy back, and that's very important in his deck, because he's discarding water and he's got no more left in his discard now. He's then going to get 4 water energy back, and that allows him 1 attachment and 3 Water Shoryukens. Obviously, if every turn you're discarding up to 4 water energies to try and use Greninja's ability, you're going to run out quite quickly. Now, he's put his Froakie active with 3 damage counters on, and there's a very obvious reason for that, of course. He wants that Froakie to die. I'm going to hit it with the bench damage from Kyurem anyway, so why not put it active, so then I'm not getting the double KO. What I really need here is an escape rope. That way, he can put something up, I can then get a hit, and I can kill his bench Froakie as well. So I'm going to play the Skylar, and I'm going to have a look through my deck, hoping there is an escape rope in there, and there should be. I play 3 of them, and they're there. They're all 3 there, in fact. So I can now play the escape rope, and put a Thundurus up. It's got 1 retreat cost, and see what he puts up. Now I'm screwing him anyway here. He's only got 1 Greninja out, and I'm going to do a heck of a lot of damage with Kyurem, or maybe even kill it with Blizzard Burn. Or he can put the Miltank up, but he wants it as an attacker. He goes for the second Froakie. Now I have to waste an energy retreating here, which is dodgy, because now that Kyurem's closer to being killed, and he's got all my energy on. But Kyurem is just an energy and a Colress Machine away from attacking. Thundurus does it for an energy, so I'm not too worried about my position here. And quite frankly, I'm getting the double KO. With the 3 Deoxys on the bench, I'm doing 60 without the Muscle Band, and he's only got 50 HP anyway. So I get to kill the Froakie, do the 30 bench damage to the benched Froakie, and that's going to allow me to do a double KO. Now you'll notice here that this game is going just like the previous game. Again, you should have watched that by now. If you haven't, spoiler alert. I'm running into a nice big lead. I'm 3 prizes up, and if you look at his field, he's got a Greninja and a Miltank. But of course, Miltank does 80 damage for 1 energy, Greninja does 30 damage to whoever he likes, and he can start getting more Froakies and Greninjas down. You know, if he has a good turn or 2 with some rare candy, he's going to be rolling very quickly. And at that stage, he can be doing up to 120 with Greninja plus 80 with Miltank. He could be doing 200 damage a turn and spreading it around, so he's not wasting all that. That, ladies and gentlemen, will put him in a very good position. Now, in my last game, we learned that although I went out to a big lead, I ended up drawing a Muscle Band off an Enter 1, although it wasn't that lucky for the reasons I pointed out. And, you know, I was going to probably lose the next turn. This game could very easily go that way. So he takes a KO on the Kyurem, and it's really not, you know, it could be a lot worse. Now I'm junipering the Thundurus there because, as I've been saying all along, I want the Kyurem, I want the Absol, and gosh darn it, they're not coming out. Frustrating, but what can you do? So I hit Lightning Energy. I think I play something like 4 Prism, 2 lightning and 3 rainbow. So there's enough in there. I'm probably going to hit one. I hit it, I get to raid Knuckle. Now annoyingly I don't hit the laser, just like in the previous game, never mind. And because I don't hit the laser, I do 80 damage, and that is a problem. Because in this game, it's really going to come down to, can I take enough prizes? Because when he sets up, he has a huge advantage over my deck. Because he's spreading so much damage and doing so much damage with Miltank, that he's going to be carrying EXs quickly, and he's going to start to skew the prize trade. My job is get far enough ahead in the prize trade that that doesn't matter. Whiffing the KO there is going to be a problem. Now, if I can get a Kyurem out and load it up with 2 energy, which at this stage of the game, I've run through some resources, that's going to be more difficult, and get it active using an escape rope, I can get the KO on the Miltank. Far more likely, I'm going to have to waste a second Raider Knuckle killing that stupid cow thing, and all that does is give him one more turn to start setting up. You'll see he's now got a spare Miltank. He's got a Froakie, not a Froakie, sorry, whatever the stage 1's called, I forget right now. As Frogadier, there we go. As well as a Greninja. So he's starting to build that up. Next turn, he's likely to be doing a double Water Shoryuken, doing either 60 to 1 Pokemon or 30 each to 2 Pokemon, as well as the 80 for Miltank. And that's going to start... It's going to start threatening my board quite seriously. I've not got my single prize Pokemon out, my non-EXs, and that's worrying. Now he hits another superior energy retrieval here, so that gives him more energy, and he's probably playing 4 of them, to be honest with you. So it's like when you play against an Aromatisse deck playing Max Potion. You lament when they hit Max Potion, but they're playing 4 Max Potion and Dowser Machine. Of course they've hit Max Potion. So he hits a Juniper, and here we go. Now he's got a Froakie and a Frogadier and a Greninja lined up in evolution order, which is kind of cool. Next turn, in theory, he could have 3 Greninjas out, and that's looking worrying. Now you'll also notice that my active Thundurus now has 110. That's bad, because that means he can kill it with 2 Water Shoryukens in the middle of his turn, and we talked last game about the joys of taking prize in the middle of your turn, and then he's still got the attack. Now I do thankfully hit my Kyurem here, so that's good, and I hit a laser far too late. Now I'm again going to play my Power Pad. That Power Pad is just amazing, and because it's late game, we've both got big benches, I'm just going to grab a couple of Colruses. I think about the Skylar there, because I might want to just Skylar for a laser or for a muscle band, but Colrus is the correct play given that there's 9 bench Pokemon out. Now I'm pretty sure I play a Lysand in this deck, although I don't seem to be finding it, and again Power Pad excels with Lysand. Of course there's plenty of games where you play Lysand way too, you use the PayPal early, or you have to discard it with Juniper or Ultra Ball, and that sucks. But it works a nice second Lysand. And you've seen with these games, with having multiple escape rope, Lysand is not that important. In fact, my friend Tamau, who made top 16 at UK Nationals, didn't actually play any Lysand or Catcher or Genesect in his deck, he just played escape rope. So I'm going to use that stupid Raid Knuckle thing, and I'm going to get an energy on Kyurem. But you'll see there, that was essentially a wasted turn. Yeah, I got the second energy attachment, but I gave him another turn to set up. And now, this is looking a little bit worrying. Now he's got the second Greninja. If he's got 2 water energy, my active Thundurus is going to die. Now, he doesn't have quite as much freedom as the Dusknoir here, because he can't move the energy around. But I've got 60 left on the active Thundurus. He can kill it, get 2 prizes, and still get the attack. And the other huge downside for me here is I've got to put something active. So what do? Do I put up the Kyurem and let him do 80, leaving it as an easy Water Shoryuken kill next turn? Or do I put up the Thundurus, leaving it on 110, so that he can double Water Shoryuken and kill that in the middle of his next turn? Neither of them is a correct play. I have to put up a Deoxys. I don't want to put up a Deoxys, because Deoxys has 2 retreat. Now I check my discard pile and I see I've used 2 escape ropes. Now, I hadn't double checked in this game my prizes well enough. I couldn't remember if one was prized. Now, when we were watching this video earlier, because I'm watching this with you while I'm commentating, I had a look and I told you earlier all three were there. But here I'm worrying. I've got the Skylar, but it's still a little bit worrying. He's now built it up to 3 prizes to 2. He's almost certainly going to have 3 Greninja next turn. That's 90 being spread around, plus the 80 from Miltank, and he's got a spare Miltank on the bench. And this is exactly what I talked about earlier in the game. Now, at this stage in the game, it's come down to really a war of attrition for me. Can I have enough resources to pull out the win late game? Early game, it looks like I'm steamrolling him, and to be fair, I was. But now, I've got to take 2 prizes in the next 2 turns and play nicely, or at least well, or I'm a little bit screwed. Now, I did make the right choice by throwing up that Deoxys, assuming I've got the escape rope, but it's still worrying. Now, you see there he played the superior energy retrieval. He shouldn't have played the superior energy retrieval, because if I end him now, all those water go back into his deck, and yeah, he might draw them, he might not, but he's only going to be drawing 3 cards. The superior energy retrieval should have been saved for when he was going to use the multiple water Shoryukens next turn. For him, that was a bad move. It was a misplay. Now, I'm not going to end him, so he's alright, but I want to end him at this stage, and had I done so, that would have been a complete waste of a superior energy retrieval. It means he can't draw into that one if I end him to 3. But luckily I've got the Skylar, I hit the escape rope, and I'm still a fan of Skylar in Plasma for this reason. There's so many turns when you want a Colress machine, an energy, a laser, a Verbank, and Skylar's so good for that. Now I use Colress machine here just to sort out my deck. Now I have also made a little bit of a misplay here. So you'll see the Thunderous, I'm doing 80 without the laser, so I played a laser, I've got the KO. Now I'm not going to play that second bike, because he's probably going to end me to 1, and quite frankly, I want that bike. If he ends me to 1, that's pretty good. Now the mistake I've made here is I haven't been keeping track of the energy in my discard pile. I want to put a water energy on Kyurem, because he's got 2 energy, only one's water energy. You can see there, he only has 1 water energy. Kyurem needs water, water, colourless. And he's already got water, colourless. The lightning isn't a water, so it's effectively a colourless. That was a useless energy attachment on Kyurem. Now, I suppose I could have put it onto a Deoxys there, so that if I had to use an escape rope, I could attach and retreat with Deoxys, but I'm still going to need an attachment to Kyurem, so it's not really doing me any good there. Now you'll see here, he's got his 4 Greninjas going up, and he's going to Lysand. Now he's going to Lysand the Kyurem here, and he has to Lysand the Kyurem. And the reason is that Kyurem's hitting for 120, next turn if I've got the water energy, it's hitting for 120 plus everything else. It's going to get a KO on anything. He's got to kill it this turn. Now, I know I've used all of my escape rope, and there's no float stone, scramble switch, there's nothing left with which I can retreat it. So had he actually captured it up and just used water Shoryuken, and it depends if he's got the resources to do so, then maybe he could have got the KO there. But we don't know that. He had to get rid of that, or else I was going to get the KO if I could retreat the Deoxys. As it happened, I couldn't retreat the Deoxys, so he should have just captured the Deoxys. But then again, maybe he's out of superior energy retrieval, water energy, etc. Maybe he's got to rely on Miltank here, because he had 3 prizes to take. So I've got a lot of stuff here, and I've got everything I need here to get the easy KO before the Juniper. So I'm going to raid Knuckle and get the KO. So you've seen from both of these matches that these Miltank decks are for real. They are very good decks. In both games I went second, which in the first one was nice. I got the first turn attack. In the second one was not so good. No, actually I didn't get the first... I don't know. Regardless, it was, not so bad that I went second with my deck. But he still... It came down in both games too. Can he set up and get rolling well enough, early enough to get the win? or am I going to win by a war of attrition, which happened both games. But neither of my wins were comfortable, and that is why these Miltank decks are good, but I still consider them a tier below the top ones. I will be back as soon as I can with more videos, but it may be after the weekend now. I hope you've enjoyed them. Tweet me at the Wassy with any suggestions you've got, or email me at ptcgradio@hotmail.co.uk. Make sure you subscribe if you're liking the video, and don't forget to check out my podcast by googling PTCG Radio, looking on iTunes, or just going to ptcgradio.wordpress.com for a complete archive. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again soon.